Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget-friendly, and delicious. So if you'd like to get some weeknight meal ideas, just keep watching. If you've seen some of my other What's for Dinner videos, you might notice that this one is a little bit different than usual. A lot of the dinners this week were really easy, and we did eat out a couple times, which is a little bit unusual for us. We had a super busy week. The later part of this week, the beginning of part of the week, I wasn't feeling that great. So let me show you what I made. This first night, I made chicken teriyaki bowls. This was really easy, but it was super delicious. Let me show you how I made it. I'm going to start out by marinating my chicken. I just have a couple chicken breasts that were in my freezer. I thawed them. And then I'm using this Sweet Baby Ray's sweet teriyaki sauce to marinate the chicken. You can do it for 30 minutes or an hour if that's what you have, but I'm doing this overnight. Of course, the longer you can let it marinate, the better it will be. This was our first time using the Sweet Baby Ray's teriyaki sauce, and it was actually really good. I'd definitely purchase it again. And continuing with my theme this week of trying to use up things from my freezer, fridge, and pantry, I just have some odds and ends of vegetables that I want to use up. So I have some of that teriyaki sauce that I'm going to drizzle over. I have about a half of an onion. I just cut these into slices. I have this package of 90-second jasmine rice that was in my pantry, so I'm going to use that up. I have some fresh pineapple that really needs to be used up before it goes bad. And then some zucchini and just a little piece of a bell pepper. So I'm just going to slice all of that. I tossed it in some olive oil, added some salt and pepper, and then I just cooked all of the vegetables and the chicken on my Cuisinart griddler, and then I just popped the rice into the microwave according to the package instructions. And here's my finished bowl. So I just added a bed of that rice and then my vegetables and the grilled pineapple and chicken. And like I said, this was delicious. It was really good. It was super quick. I will link the recipe that I kind of use as inspiration down in the description box below. I did not follow it exactly. That recipe calls for you to make your own coconut rice. And next time I'll definitely do that. I think the coconut and the pineapple teriyaki would be really great. But this was just something quick and easy. And that was dinner this night. Like I said, super quick and easy and yummy. Up next, I made a fig and goat cheese crostini. On this particular day, we ate lunch super late, so we really were not very hungry for dinner. I just made this for us as like a little snack. We love this. I've made it several times for us as an appetizer. So although it's not a dinner, I wanted to go ahead and share it with you. I know we've got holidays coming up in the next couple months. This would be great appetizer for get-togethers or just date night or any night. So let me show you how I make this. First up, I'm going to start with my bread. This is a loaf of sliced Italian bread that I got on the clearance shelf at Kroger. It was like 49 cents for a big loaf, which is a great price. I'd broken it up and put it into my freezer. So I pulled it out of my freezer and let it thaw on the counter. I placed some slices on a cookie sheet and baked them in a preheated 350-degree oven for just about 5 minutes until they started to get toasted. Next, I'm going to use some of this honey goat cheese. I just set it out on the counter about 15 minutes ago to allow it to get to room temperature. Then I'm going to take some prosciutto, and I've mentioned this before on my channel, but Aldi is a great place to get gourmet cheeses and meats. They're really affordable there, so that's where I got this prosciutto and the honey goat cheese. Next, I'm going to take some of this fig jam. I got this from Home Goods. This jar was, I believe, $3, and it's a good size jar. I was looking at other grocery stores, and it was like $5 or $6 for a jar of fig jam, so that was a great way to save a couple dollars. Next, I'm going to take some of this baby spinach and arugula. I also got this from Aldi. I really wanted just arugula, so I'm just going to pick out some of the arugula on this. And to be honest, this was the first time I've added the arugula. You know, you don't have to necessarily add it, but I will say that it did add a nice freshness and pepperiness. And then lastly, I'm going to use some of this balsamic glaze from Trader Joe's. I don't remember how much this is. I think it's like $2 something, but you can find this at the regular grocery store. Now I'm going to assemble these. It's really easy. I'm just spreading some of that honey goat cheese on my toast. Then I'm going to add some of the fig jam, then the prosciutto, and I like to tear the prosciutto slices into smaller pieces. It just makes it a little easier to eat. I'm going to add a few pieces of arugula and then drizzle that balsamic glaze over it, and then that will be it. And here's my finished plate. Like I said, we'd eaten a really late lunch this day, so this was our dinner. We just had a few slices of the crostini. It was quick and easy and really delicious. I know it might sound like a weird combination with the goat cheese and the figs and the balsamic and the prosciutto, but it is delicious. It's so good. For dinner this night, I made sliders. I had some slider patties that I got on markdown, I believe at Target, and they were in my freezer. I wanted to use them up. I've shared how I make this before on my channel. I'll link that video in the description box below. These are easy and they're delicious. Ruby Tuesday used to have sliders. Now, I know they still have sliders sometimes, but they had sliders and onion petals and a sweet chili sauce years ago. They took them off their menu, and it was one of my favorite things. I used to go all the time and get them. My husband worked briefly at Ruby Tuesdays, and so we would go all the time. But anyway, this is kind of a copycat recipe. I'll include that video in the description box below. Like I said, we had some of the sliders. I had onion petals, which I got these at Walmart in their frozen section. They were the, I think, Farm Rich brand. And then my husband wanted some fries, so I just made him some leftover Rally's fries. Had a little bit left in a bag in my freezer that I wanted to use up, so I just cooked those in the air fryer, and that was our dinner this night. For dinner this night, we had pinto beans, cornbread, fried potatoes, and macaroni and tomatoes. Now, I've shared before on my channel how I make my pinto beans, my cornbread, and my fried potatoes. I'll link those videos in the description box below. Really easy, just good Southern comfort food. But let me show you how I make my macaroni and tomatoes. In this pot, I have some elbow macaroni that I cooked according to the package instructions. I've drained it. To that, I'm going to add a can of petite diced tomatoes with the juice. Then I'm going to add some pepper, salt, bacon grease, a can of water. I'm going to stir this around, bring this to a boil, and then reduce the heat and simmer this for 10 to 15 minutes, and then that's it. It'll be ready. Now, if you've never had this before, it might sound like it's a little simple to you, and it is. This is one of those, to me, quintessential Southern dishes, very budget friendly, kind of use what you have, meager ingredients, but still somehow, even with its simplicity, is delicious. My husband, I jokingly refer to him as a Yankee. He's originally from New York. The first time that I told him I was going to make this, he was kind of like, what? But he loves this. In fact, when I told him I was making it this night for dinner, he asked me to make sure I made extra so he had leftovers for lunch. So even though it's simple, it's still delicious. I find that macaroni and tomatoes are like other Southern dishes, like biscuits and cornbread, where people make it the way that their mom or their grandma made it. And you make it however you like it. I know some people who use butter instead of bacon grease. Some people like it more soupy. Some people use tomato juice or V8. So again, just use whatever you have on hand or whatever you like. That's all that matters. Here's the finished macaroni and tomatoes. Then I have my pinto beans. I like using a ham hock in my pintos. And then I have the fried potatoes. Again, I'll have the video where I share how I make the pintos and fried potatoes linked in the description box below. Usually I make homemade cornbread, and again, that video will be linked in the description box below. But on this night, I had this box of Jiffy cornbread mix in my pantry that really needed to be used up, so I just cooked it according to the package instructions, and then I set out our fixins for our dinner. Here are the finished plates. So we have the macaroni and tomatoes, the fried potatoes. We both like ketchup with our fried potatoes. And then for our pinto beans, I like cornbread and diced onion, and I know this might sound weird, but yellow mustard. My grandmother ate it that way, and it is delicious, and I'm not even a big mustard fan. My husband, for his pinto beans, he likes cornbread, mustard, and hot chow chow, and that was our dinner this night. The next night, I did not feel like cooking at all, and my husband had been wanting Papa John's, so we just decided to order a couple pizzas from there. We got the 2 large pizza special so that we could have leftovers for lunch the next day. The pizza on the left was half pepperoni and pineapple. I know that's a little controversial. Some people swear pineapple does not belong on a pizza. We are not those people. We love pineapple on our pizza. And then the pizza on the right is their Works pizza, but it doesn't have sausage or raw onions, and that was our dinner this night. For dinner the next night, I made steak pad thai. Now, just a disclaimer, I do not claim that this is at all an authentic Thai dish. It's not. This is actually a home chef recipe that we had several years ago, and we really enjoyed it. I've made it many times since then. It's really easy. This is a super quick dinner to put together. I will include a link to their recipe in the description box below. Like I said, not authentic, but it's super quick and it's delicious. So let me show you how I made it. First up, I'm going to cook my noodles. I got these rice noodles at Aldi, but I've also found them at Kroger, Publix, and other grocery stores. I'm just cooking these according to the package instructions, and I did drain them really well and then rinse them with cold water and again drain them. In this skillet over about medium-high heat, I'm going to add in my oil. Here I have a sliced sirloin steak. I just had one single steak in my freezer and I wanted to use it up, so I just thawed it, sliced it thinly, and then tossed it with some salt and pepper. I'm just going to cook this for about a minute on each side. You don't have to worry about cooking it all the way through just yet. Then I'm going to add in my sugar, stir that, and cook it for another minute or two. I'm going to add in my matchstick carrots and then the whites to the green onions that I've chopped up. Give that a stir and again cook it for a minute or two. Next, I'm going to add in the oyster sauce. I'll show you the bottle in just a second. Sorry, I forgot to show it first. I got this at Kroger, I believe. Then I'm going to add in my fresh lime juice. I've used the stuff in the bottle before. It still turns out just fine. Then I'm going to add my sambal. Now, you can do this according to taste. If you're not a fan of spicy food, I would start with a teaspoon and go from there. Quick note, I am doubling the recipe. So I used just under a tablespoon for double the recipe. And it was the perfect amount of spice for us. I've stirred that together. Now I'm going to add in my rice noodles and toss that around. Then, according to how you want the texture to be, I'm just going to add in some of the reserved pasta water from cooking the noodles. I give this a taste here, and I've said it before, but always taste your food and adjust it according to your taste. I felt like it needed a little bit more oyster sauce, so I added in maybe about 2 tablespoons. And once I've stirred that around, that's it. It's ready. Here are the finished plates. So I just served up the pad thai, and then for garnish, I added some lime wedges, some chopped green onions, and then some chopped honey roasted peanuts, which might sound weird. I know regular peanuts are traditional on a pad thai, but the honey roasted peanuts are actually really good. This kind of sweetness from the peanuts goes well with the spiciness and savoriness from the pad thai. This was our dinner this night. Super quick and easy dinner, and it was really delicious. And one final quick note here, you could also do this with chicken. That would be a lot more budget friendly. Like I said, I just happened to have a single steak in the freezer that I wanted to use up. This would also be delicious with shrimp or just different kinds of vegetables. For dinner this night, we had a combination of leftovers, and then I wanted to use up some odds and ends before they went bad. In this skillet, I have some oil that I added, and then I had about 1/4 of an onion that I chopped up. I had a single russet potato in my potato bin. I peeled that, washed it of course, peeled it, cut it into chunks, and then I had a 1/2 package of turkey kielbasa left over from a recipe from last week. Cut that into chunks. I cooked this over about medium heat until everything was golden brown and the potatoes were cooked all the way through. And you can season this however you'd like. I seasoned it with some Tony Chachere's and a little bit of salt and pepper. Here's my finished plate. I have some of the potatoes and kielbasa, and then I warmed up some pinto beans. I ate that with cornbread, some chopped onions, and then yellow mustard. I didn't get a picture of my husband's plate. He ate dinner a little bit later than I did, but he had leftover macaroni tomatoes and pinto beans, and then he had just a little bit of the potatoes and kielbasa, and that was our dinner this night. Dinner the next night was just me. My husband was working late. I didn't feel like cooking anything extravagant for myself, so here's what I did. I cooked up some chicken strips in the air fryer, and then I had some honey mustard in the condiment drawer. I don't remember what restaurant it was from. I think Captain D's. They have the best honey mustard. I feel like it's delicious. And then I just made a quick side salad. I have some lettuce, shredded cheese, some leftover bacon, tomatoes, and then I used some of the Bolthouse ranch dressing, and that was my dinner this night. For the last dinner in this week's video, I ordered takeout. On this particular night, my husband and I were supposed to have a business meeting at a steakhouse in downtown Nashville, but I just wasn't feeling that great. I was just feeling tired. I haven't been sleeping well the past few nights, and so it's just kind of caught up with me. But my husband was sweet enough to cover for me for the business meeting, which I really appreciated. And because he felt so bad that he was getting to enjoy, this fancy steak dinner, so he insisted that I order myself something for dinner. So I just ordered takeout from a local restaurant. I got their smothered chicken burrito. It was just chicken, refried beans inside the burrito, and then covered in queso. And then, of course, it came with rice and guacamole and pico, and that was my dinner this night. Thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.